All right, so we have a hiccup that we have uncovered as we have been traveling through the world talking about these new clean energy tax credits. One, commenced construction, a concept that is, been around since the beginning of clean energy tax credit time, even before. And this other concept called when did you put your system to service? So those were always the key dates that we had in our mind in terms of eligibility for generating these tax credits. And then right before Christmas, along with the happy days of this portal opening, we discovered that there's a third piece that is going to be critical for determining eligibility for our first cohort of entities that are reliant on elective pay, and that is the individual entity's fiscal year. So now we have our first two things, but now we also have to worry about what the entity's fiscal year is. So the reason that is because buried in the language of the IRA is in the credit monetization section, it says, oh, and by the way, this section, this provision called elective pay will only start for taxable years commencing after December 31st, 2022. If you're a school, you go, I don't have a taxable year. But separately, the IRS, so not IRA text, but separately, the IRS tells you and has always told you, if you're an entity that doesn't have a taxable year, you must use your accounting period as your taxable year when you do things with us, say, file your 990T. So you put those two things together and we end up with an issue. Sorry, I keep scrolling the wrong way. So here's the visualization starting with, here's the normal land that we all lived in. If you're a private sector entity, you would generate a clean energy tax credit if your system was put into service on an eligible date in a calendar year. And this is how the world worked before IRA, and this is how the world still works for those entities that don't rely on direct pay today. They just really care about when they put their system into service, and their commenced construction date will tell them what rules they need to follow. But now we have a new thing that we have to worry about for our elective pay folks. And that is, what is your fiscal year? So if I'm a school that happens to have a fiscal year that aligns with the calendar year, there's no problem. So I put a solar array into service on May 15th. It's in a fiscal year that is the same as the calendar year. And guess what? That fiscal year started after December 31st, 2022. I'm fine, I'm eligible for elective pay is activated for me, and I'm good. But if I am like many schools and many other nonprofit, non-taxable public entities, and my fiscal year goes from July 1 to June 30th, and I put that same system into service on May 15th, now that system is being put into service during a taxable year that started before December 31st, 2022, I have what I've deemed a fiscal year hangover, and I've got a problem because now elective pay is not activated for me. So I now have a hole, and any eligible work that I put into service in those first 6 months of the year is now not eligible for elective pay. It's generating credits. It's eligible for the clean energy tax credit, but I can't get elective pay for it. Okay, so some quick, just kind of, as we've been trying to size up how big a deal this is, what are the prevalence of different fiscal years out there? So 46 states, remember, because this isn't just schools, this is all municipalities, this is everyone that needs elective pay. 46 states and their fiscal years in June, and the others look like they're not on December either. So if my math is right, 100% of states will have some fiscal year hangover. The federal government itself has a fiscal year that ends September 30th, kind of comical. 35% of municipalities end their fiscal year in June. And there's some interesting geographic differences too. So in Illinois, 94% of counties have November as their last month of the fiscal year, which means they're going to lose out on, the whole almost the whole first year, 11 months of the first year 2023. So there's some interesting geographic discrepancies that are going to crop up here. Very interesting data.